to achieve before ending your career?
Well, there are two ways of looking at it. Personally, yeah, I've achieved quite a bit as a batsman. But I think from a team point of view, our goal is always to win a lot more test matches, especially away from home. And I think we've got a long way to try and do that, to climb up the test rankings. So hopefully before I finish, we'll be able to beat some of the big countries in their own backyard. And keep playing really good test cricket and keep improving and hopefully be on top of the rankings.
Yeah. So since you was the thing that was missing from your illustrious career, did you want it badly or before ending career?
Yeah, you've always look at, as a batsman, you look at scores, 100, 200, 300s. Brian Lara's got 400, and those are always things that you try and chase when you have an opportunity. So I was very happy to have got into the 300 club at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
What went on your mind after when you're losing your partner from your life?
Oh well, it's that happens in cricket. You just gotta try and take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. It was getting a bit hard to score at the end because we had 9 fielders on the line, both on the offside and the onside, and it was tough to just push singles because I couldn't rotate strike. I had to kind of shield the tail. So it was a decision that was made for me, actually, because of that, to try and get after, especially the left-arm spinner, and try and get to 300 as soon as possible. After that, it was just a case of trying to score more runs because we had to declare anyways before the end of the day's play.
Yeah.
Mahela, sorry, you're a big fan of Brian Lara. You have actually now achieved you've crossed him in a lot of test records. Does that make you happy? Does that make sense? Right?
Well, I don't think you're ever really satisfied with things that you do as a cricketer. You always know that there's a bit more that you could have done, a couple more runs here or a few more runs there. But you're right. I grew up watching and idolizing Sir Vivian Richards, and then Brian Lara came along, and he was magical to watch. So I'm pretty happy to have equaled him in some kind of way, but I don't think I'll ever equal him, as a batsman, because I think he's on a completely different level to most of the batsmen I've seen.
Andrew.
How important this innings is in the context of the game, given the next best is 47?
Well, it's nice to score runs, but the point is that we've got to win a game. So we've got the platform. It would have been nice to have held that catch at the end to have them 2 down, but we've got 3 more days of play left. So the first session tomorrow morning, trying to make some inroads and trying to make the score that we have in the first innings really count.
Andrew.
Kumar, you didn't seem to play the conventional sweep that much in this innings. What was the reason?
There was not much value for the sweep really after a while. Maybe at the start of the innings they didn't have a short fine leg, so maybe a lap sweep or maybe a slog sweep would have been in order. But on a track that was a bit slow, uneven bounce, it's really hard to try and control a sweep. It's not one of my favorite shots as well. So it's a question of really playing the shots that I thought was proper on this track. The other thing is that at the end of the day, when I was trying to clear the ropes, it was probably my strength to try and go down the wicket, advance and try and clear the ropes on the leg side, and that's what I tried to do. So the sweep would have been an option that probably wouldn't have got me a lot of runs, especially at the back end of my innings.
Yeah.
About the innings, you came into the crease when Sri Lanka were at 49 for 2, then you rescued them, then you played aggressively. It seems that you planned your innings very well. What was going on in your mind?
Well, it was a case of first getting used to the pace of the wicket. It was kind of a difficult wicket to get used to. Also, the fields were quite a bit defensive, so it was hard to keep rotating strike as easily as we thought we could. If there had been a bit more pace, we could have penetrated the field, but without that, it was just a waiting game. And then when I really got set, it was a case of trying to dominate. If I had an opportunity to go over the field, I wanted to do that. If I had an opportunity to rotate strike, I would do that. So that was a case of continuously trying to score runs and having a really positive intent.
When you scored your double, Sri Lanka were saved by then, and you were defending, you weren't taking those singles. At that point in time, do you think that you could reach your 300? Was there any way?
Well, it was tough. I was batting with the tail. It would have been much easier batting with maybe Dilruwan or even if Mendes had stayed. I had to shield Mendo from Shaki because he was getting that kind of a difficult angle for right-handers. So other than that, I was happy to rotate strike with Mendo, but then after that it was again kind of tight. So I had to take matters into my own hand and try and score as many as quickly as possible.
Okay, 2 more questions. One here.
So when you were saying that equaling Lara, in fact you have surpassed Lara in another for someone like Lara.
Well, you surpassed. I think I've surpassed him in very little. Maybe fastest to 11,000 or whatever. But it's not something I don't think I compare myself to him at all. I don't think it's of any use comparing myself to him because again, like I said, he's to me he's beyond reach. So I'm pretty happy to score runs and score the way I do, and pretty happy that I've got to 11,000.
Yeah.
So you've surpassed a lot of records, you've shown a lot of consistency, and you've reached a stage in your career. So I just want to know what you have done right when you started your career, what you have done right before you started your career.
Well, I think it's mostly been a lot of hard work in the nets, trying to learn as much as I can every time I play, not losing my positive intent to score, and trying to stay one step ahead of the opposition every time I played. So I don't think there's a big secret to it. It's just a lot of throwdowns, a lot of batting in the nets, thinking a bit about my own batting, and also I think the environment we've had in our dressing room has been really good for improvement. We've always pushed each other really hard, not just in skill work but also with fitness and strength levels. And I think that kind of competition and that kind of motivation from the rest of the group has really helped me. And we've had some great inspirational players in the dressing room since I started, from Aravinda De Silva to Sanath Jayasuriya and onwards. So I think I've been very lucky to have that kind of environment to work in as well, and great support staff, great coaches, and great people to chat with about cricket.
Yeah.
Last 8 innings against BD, you got the 5th time you got the 3 wickets. What's the secret? Is it very easy to score back in this competition?
Well, it's hard to say. I don't look at the opposition. I look at runs. If I get an opportunity to score runs, it doesn't matter to me really who I score them against. I try and score as much as I can because I know there's going to be a time where I won't be that successful. Maybe I'll have a lean trot, but when the opportunity presents itself, you try and make the most of it.
Sangha,
No.
After getting double century in Dhaka Test, Joy has said that you may defeat him on next match, and you definitely done that. So how will you explain the contest between you and Joy?
Well, there's no contest really. Again, Maya is a very special talent, and he's also, I think, when it comes to world cricket and especially in the Sri Lankan context, in a class of his own, maybe with Aravinda De Silva. So he's been an exceptional player for Sri Lanka cricket, and it's been great playing alongside him and batting together with him and talking about cricket with him. And I think it's been great for me and everyone else as well to have him in the dressing room.
Last one for you.
Kumar, is there any better innings in Test that you played?
Well, yeah, it's a really good innings to me doesn't mean that you've scored the most amount of runs in it. Sometimes there are little innings that I've scored, especially I always go back to my 98 against South Africa in my first ever away tour at Centurion, and I think that's when I really thought maybe I could play Test cricket. Until that time, I wasn't really sure whether I could belong and I could really compete. But that innings really changed my mind about how I looked at myself and really taught me what it takes to be a Test player and how hard you've got to try and earn it. So I think that innings really set the foundation for what's happened since then.
Andrew, last question.
Yesterday, the partnership with Mahela set up the innings quite well. How has your batting together changed over the years as you've developed as players and got to know each other better?
I think we bat pretty much the same. I think we feed off each other quite well in the sense of attack and defense. I think we read each other very well when one's really going at the bowling, that the other rotates and vice versa. So it's good to have that kind of rapport and understanding, because it really helps you out there, especially building a partnership in tough conditions. And that's something I think all batsmen work towards, especially if you have your top 7 batsmen playing in a one-day T20 or Test side. It's really important to have that, because the feedback you get in the middle about how you're playing at that moment really helps you to kick on and get better in that particular innings itself. So it's been a great privilege to bat with him. And keep playing really good Test cricket. Just got to try and take advantage of Ormi, actually, because of that, to try and get after.
Yeah. Question. Mahela,
well, I don't think you're ever really satisfied. And then Brian Lara came along, and I think he's on a completely different level. We've got to win a game. So we've got the platform. Continuously trying to score runs and having a really positive intent. If Mendes had stayed, I had to shield Mendo from Shaki, because he was maybe fastest to 11,000 or whatever, 11,000. So it's good to have that kind of rapport and understanding, because it really